3 weeks prior to this date. We did have a setback, so this is a rescheduled meeting. We do have some guests and delegations present with us. And at this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
All right, have a motion and second to approve the agenda. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that brings us down to the minutes. A copy of last month's minutes were emailed out, and then I think you have a hand copy in front of you there to review.
Everybody get the emails the last time? I made a couple of changes in that group, so I think we've got that working correctly now.
Make a motion to be approved.
Have a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
A second. Any other discussion on the minutes? All right, call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to the financial report.
Final report for FY '20. We did end substantially over budget, but that was a known situation due to all of our radio stuff that we've done over the year, the consolidation of antennas and the voter sites and all of that. Pull them out and we would have been a little bit under the original forecast budget. Did get complete payment on all the dispatch contracts. You notice needs line is a little bit, looks like it is overpaid. There was a carryover of one of their payments from last fiscal year that was made in this fiscal year, so we credited on this year's, while theirs looks like it was paid extra. It's just the way the payments fell. So it was recorded in this year and not last year. You'll see a large decrease in salary wages. That is due to the county's payment, which pays back a substantial part of Rachel's for the year, so it's credited back on that one, is why it looks like we only worked one pay period out of that month, because that's the county and the city's contributions to the GIS department. I think that was all that I was going to point out. Anyone have any other questions?
Any other discussion on the financial statement?
Move approved financial statement.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, that brings us to staff reports. Item number 1, under the CARES Act, CARES grant.
The governor's office opened up a grant cycle in the CARES money that we finally fit into one of their baskets per se. Most of those have been delegated specifically saying public safety departments, which of course we don't classify as public safety. So they did specify 911 boards in this last round, up to 15,000. There was some stipulations, you had to be able to verify what that expense went back for, so we came up with 12,800 and some change worth of verifiable expense that was applied for and approved. Hasn't been paid yet, but I do have an approval that it's done.
What is CARES, please? I don't know what CARES is.
Well, it's
Coronavirus
for
money. I
coronavirus.
forget exactly what it stands for, but that's the federal money that was given to the states to help with the coronavirus response. I forget exactly what that acronym stands for.
And there were several classifications under that, is my understanding. It could have been salary reimbursements, it could be safety equipment, it could be anything that would had to purchase or was in necessity due to a response to the coronavirus, is what was the criteria within that.
There's an article this morning's paper about the fact that counties like ours are not taking advantage of it, as money's gonna end up back to the federal government. But for this, the complaint is that for a $15,000 grant, the documentation and the time, I mean, while that's good, it's still,
Astronomical.
it's, time consuming
20
to
minutes.
qualify for the paperwork side. of it.
Record keep.
One,
Done and submitted in 20 minutes, because I had,
Well, there you go.
I had the backbone of it was already in our store.
another key contributing is it has to be spent upfront, and that is a reimbursement grant. And a lot of municipalities that are going through this don't have, the money to put up front to make the needed purchases. They can only get reimbursed for what they've spent as a cost, so.
That was one thing that we had put on, especially on time cards, even when this thing first started, was if we had someone out because of COVID, we put CV-19 on the time card, that way we had documentation. I figured something like this would come forward. So, it helps.
All right.
We're doing the same thing with the accounting office. It was very easy to pull back and see how many hours had been missed or
Yes.
replaced.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else on the CARES Act? All right. Item number 2, the additional answering position configuration.
We talked about this, last month, doing some changes with the supervisor's office, my old office in dispatch, of trying to make it work better as a call position. The PAC unit had quit in there. The quote to fix it was $2,300. Y'all approved up to $1,000 for us to do that workaround, and I think we did all of that for 75-ish.
Yeah.
So, we left a little money on the table, but we've got my desk and David's desk and an extra standalone just phone position in dispatch and the supervisor's office. So theoretically, if we had enough bodies, we could answer 6, 7, 9 911 calls simultaneously now. So,
You said 75 or 750?
75.
$75?
Yes.
Hey, you did good.
You did real good. Proud of you.
I'm proud of you, very proud of you. I should have wanted to confirm that. You didn't make a big enough point there.
We were able to reconfigure the software to use a USB input for the headset instead of having to buy that PAC device. The PAC is necessary on the floor where we have the radio integration. The supervisor's office doesn't have an integrated radio, so it was the $2,300 interface that we didn't need. So we were able to do a workaround with our vendor to make it work on a USB connection and not the expensive route, so.
All right. That brings us to old business, the TAC 1 voter side update.
Still working on trying to get these finished. We started this, was this back in February or March, before the shutdown, that we approved to do 4 of these, and we got 2 of them done pretty quickly, and then we kind of stalled out on getting the Blunsville site secured. I've talked with Tom from JPM again this week. He's all for us getting up and going. Equipment is at Allcom and ready, so it's just a matter of getting an install date figured out. We've got an outlet that we got to swap. The polarity of an outlet, Allcom's check wasn't happy with, so I got to get our electrician to go up and look at that. We're going to look at that Friday, so hopefully within 2 weeks.
This is the Blunsville
This is
side.
the Blunsville. The west side site, we kicked around using the water tank on County 7, but there's not a good mounting solution on it. And there's not a good electricity solution. We're probably going to have to set a power meter of our own. We looked at using the site where we currently are for the TAC 1 repeater, but the long-term goal is hopefully being able to get that $276 a month rent off the book. The Fire 1, Fire 2, and transportation stuff is all at the Bryant Mountain site of the smoke rise. And that is that's an agreement with Southern Link. Southern Link's very public safety friendly, and they just let us use that site. So there's no rent on that one. And we have an IP connection back and forth there through the microwave system. So the current goal is trying to get that one to do the microwave hop back, and then we don't have to fool with getting another UHF license, another UHF radio. So if that all comes about, that site may be the cheapest of the four once we get done, because we may not have to buy as much for it. So Blunsville within 2 or 3 weeks, I think, knock on wood, everything goes right, and the west side by the end of the year. And that should have all those voted sites up and going, and for the west side office, they might have to keep toggling back and forth to that west side or bigger.
Areas of progress.
A lot of conversations back and forth. We've got some good, what we feel is solid pricing structure now. David's got a spreadsheet built that we can put up on the screen if y'all wanna see it, but it is a beast of a spreadsheet. He can change one number here and there and it recalculate the whole project. So, you wanna pop that up, or
Yeah, you guys wanna see it?
just to give us just give y'all a look at how we're trying to figure out the financing of this thing. I think probably our next step would be to, now that we've got a good number in our minds, would be to reach out to some of our legislators and see if there's any discretionary money that can be added into the project. Not ask them to pay for the whole thing, but just see if this one's got some money and that one's got some money, to defer what we have to pass on to our responders. If we can get this to a point that we're financing 13,000-ish a month and come up with a way for the responders to come up with close to half of it, whether it be through grants or legislative money, if we can half that number somehow, I feel good with this going on. If we had to, we could turn off the extra building payment, but that's up to y'all. But I think 6,000, 6,500, somewhere in that ballpark is doable for us as a finance solution to move on with trying to get this done.
The way this spreadsheet is set up, I've got it pulling from Motorola's financing offer, which shows the final amount, the interest rate, and then the annual payments. And I've got it pulling it over into this sheet here. And the way the offer is done, it's all wrapped up as one package. So there's not this part's the tower, this part's the consoles and dispatch, this part's this radio. So we have to, when we want to talk about how we're thinking about paying for this, we have to decide what part of what is what. So we're deciding in this overall number as we're passing on the cost. If it were just us paying for it and we just pay for it outright, it wouldn't matter. But if we're talking about trying to do a lease fee or something like that, we need to know in our own heads what kind of discount we're getting on this stuff as a whole package, and how we want to divide that out. So this is set up so that we can get this information, compare it to list price to reduce down and get one, if you just reduce all of it as one from the list price, then you get this effective discount for everything. I don't think it's fair to make everything one discount price. So this discount table here, if you, the subs or the individual radios, subscriber amount, so you can assign whatever value you want over here to the subscriber radios, and it will tell you the effective discount for the remaining infrastructure, and then you break it down into the annual and monthly and what that is equivalent to in the subscribers for portables and mobiles. And then this will be ultimately our decision matrix here for how much we want to charge. It doesn't matter whether you're doing the horizontal or the vertical here. How much you want to charge for access for the infrastructure, an infrastructure fee, and how much you want to charge for the lease of the individual device. So for the departments that already have devices, got grant money, or decided to purchase it on their own, they wouldn't pay the device fee, they would only pay the access fee for the infrastructure fee. and then the infrastructure fee would ideally go down once you paid off the system. So you can either do it and find on the chart which one you want to, what you want them to pay, and then find here, this is, so if we charged 140, just, you know, and this is a small number here, but if you decided to charge 140 for access annually and 140 for the device annually, then the leftover amount would be 225,000 for 911 to pay annually. And then I've also got it broken down monthly. So you can, if we determine how much we could pay in the budget, you could find, you know, if we had $7,300 a month that we could pay in the budget, then you could say, you know, it's $22 for access and $30 for a device. You know, you can move up and down along this chart to determine how much that is. And then I've also got a basic amortization table here. So if we wanted to look at starting to pay it off before the interest started accruing, we've got 2 years deferred and a 10-year term right now is the offer that
How
they've
many?
given us.
How many?
2 years deferred. So 12 months is built in, and then they're running a special right now. So if we sign in the next, I think it's 90 days or something like that, then we get 12 months deferred.
No pressure.
But we can use that to our advantage, and that saves us, that would save us about $330-something thousand in 10 years. If we were to pay it off a little bit early.
Is this figure here included fire departments also?
Yes. Yeah, this is 325 portables, 125 mobiles, 2 radio sites, and 6 consoles, and all of them. And every place on here that says consoles, it includes everything for dispatch, the radios, antennas, everything here. And those prices also include installation and the labor involved. And for the radios, programming, and all of that. So, and then we can change that number if we want to make a counter offer back to Motorola. We can change that number and get all of the data extrapolated automatically. So we can play with this and say, you know, it's got to be down to this number for it to be reasonable for this justification. So right now the offer is 2.75 million, and the financing is at 2.55% interest.
What interest?
2.55. And then if we did make a counteroffer, this is their actual offer for that. The interest should remain the same, but there may be minor, in the amortization table, it's a rough amortization table that I did, so the actual offer that they offer back, if we make another offer, will be slightly different. And we should make a lower offer back. We shouldn't just take this.
Is that just a typo that I put over, was the leasee was Blunt County, Tennessee?
Yeah, they're getting some stuff at the same time, and the guy that put it together thought it was Tennessee as well. So, but the offer is good for us.
Can we take it and then bill them?
And I think we're about to. The package that they're buying is pretty big. They may not notice
Yeah.
our stuff on there.
Yeah.
David, can you print off a packet of this for us to review over the next couple of days? And, I mean, personally, I would recommend us setting up a work session just on this so we can review this and discuss this a little bit more in depth, because
There's a lot.
there's a lot
Yeah.
to process right there. And it would be my recommendation that we
Yeah.
we
So
try to do
I
that.
can do, I can print them off, or if you want, I can share an Excel spreadsheet of this, and then you can put in whatever number, you know, if you wanna talk about making counter offers, you can put in a number and see what that looks like. So if somebody wanted to play with it, that would be available as well.
Let's do that.
I can do that.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's up to the board.
Yeah, I do that.
That's my,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, there's a lot here, and it's a lot to digest in the meeting. I've been doing this for 4 days.
You know, the top number looks big, but that's really not bad.
Considering the first conversation we had 5 years ago was 6 million,
And it's down to, what was the two?
2.75.
Yeah. But if we thought we could do, if we thought the departments could do 20 for each, we're talking 20 for access and 20 for the device, $40 a month, it's less than a cell phone bill. With coverage that's better than cell phones in Blount County, I've got a coverage map here too, then 911 would only need to come up with $12,000 a month.
So that's per device though.
Yeah, that's per device. But Sneed wouldn't necessarily, you could have a discussion about not paying for a cell phone.
Within, and I know this entire figure is based on our need within Blount County. And I know there's some ongoing build outs around Blount County. Is this the basic package that we would need for Blount County, or is that gonna change as you build out? Not really.
We're still gonna need two, no matter.
Okay.
Yeah, so we still.
And I get, that was my question.
Yeah.
Would there be a possibility that we could drop a tower site and then change this figure, but?
Yeah. So this is the number, or this is the coverage, that we're looking at for these two sites. This is Blount County. We're picking up some coverage here from, so this section here along Highway 75 is lit up by the Palmerdale Tower, and so those blue spots there are gone. I've requested additional map data that includes all of the surrounding towers, so we can get a better coverage map. That's gonna take a couple weeks for the program to run.
Is the green, I can't see the legend, but what is the green? Is that
The green is talking back to us, and the blue is us talking out.
Is that the darker green mobile, the lighter green hand, or what's
The darker green is covered by both towers.
mobile or handheld?
This is both.
Both.
Yeah, it's been adjusted, so it's saying blue is portable from 900, mobile from 1500, portable from 6000, head level, mobile from 4500. So there's, based on this legend, there's not really a way to differentiate between them. They're about the same.
but green is talk back?
Green's talk back. Yep. So that is talk back from outside of a vehicle, or the vehicle, or,
That's talk back. Talk back is talk back.
Talk back is talk back, yeah.
All right.
But it's not gonna be talk back from a portable inside of the car.
Inside a building.
Okay.
Right.
The dark blue or blue over Fort Hagen up in there, what is that? Again,
That's where they just run the Blount County model. That doesn't take into fact of the Warrior Tower.
Yeah.
And you said the Warrior Tower was-
and this is putting in towers already, projected towers, right?
Correct.
And where would those towers be?
Palisades and
Palisades, and then there's.
the County 11 side.
Which is not secured yet.
County what?
County 11.
So the 31 corridor will be covered by the Warrior Tower, if we get to the Warrior Tower.
The 31 corridor is gonna be covered with a combination of Warrior and Highway 11. So we're at Highway 11, and I went up and I was driving a lot through there on Monday with our mobiles. And it's got, in the spots there, you can either hit Warrior, or you should be able to hit for most of it Highway 11, where you don't hit Warrior. The rest of the gaps, so this Highway 11 site here, lights up a whole lot of Coleman, but their gaps are still down here, so I expect that when they come on in a year, 2 years, they're gonna need to put a tower down here. And maybe we buy a couple of talk paths on their system, and they buy a couple of talk paths on Highway 11 to cover this massive area that we're covering for them. So maybe we come back in 2 years and this is all lit up from the Coleman side, but we don't really wanna, we don't really wanna buy a whole bunch for there. It's very sporadic. I wish that I had the map for the Warrior Tower and the Palmerdale Tower and stuff there.
How long will it take you? You said a couple of
A
weeks.
couple weeks, I should.
So maybe if we set a work session, you'll have, okay.
Possibly.
I've got them as individuals, we just don't have
Yeah,
them
we've got
compiled
the
on
map,
top of
just
each
not
other.
in the mapping software here. And then the other section here, all of this blue section here is covered by the Aurora Tower. So we usually an MOU that our talk groups work automatically on that tower with the Petawawa. And then that whole section there is lit up. It's gonna be really, really good coverage with these two sites. And then there will be a little bit of area here on the north of the west side that will be filled in the next couple of years when Poland comes on, and that is their intention as well, but they're not ready to do it this year.
So that would cover the County 531 area.
Yeah, it should.
That's possible.
Yeah, it-
Depends on when they do something.
Yeah.
That's not a,
We know where.
that's not a promise.
Yeah. The big problem with 31 driving through there is rocks over here and rocks over here. So, but there are other options too. If for some reason that did not light up, we could put a small, single channel, and our system is TDMA, so a single channel is 2 talk paths. We could put something over there that's small that just lights up that one road.
Have we done a coverage map with the side instead of on 11 being at further west, like at Bryant Mountain or somewhere?
No, these are the only two that we run.
So there's a possibility we could fill our own in, because filling Coleman don't mean hell beans. It looks to me like we want to take care of Blunt County.
The main thing is Highway 11 is a good site for us.
It takes care of Bluntsport and North.
It gets everything on the north side of that mountain. It just so happens that it's high enough that it's getting a lot of Coleman County. So it is for us. It just happens that it has pretty good reach in Coleman County.
It has a good shot to the valley down around Dallas Temple also. So a lot of what's lighting up off of that site is the part of the Wallstown, Dallas Temple, Trafford part of the county.
And I can actually turn these on and off here. So this is just Highway 11. So Highway 11 is covering most of Blount County by itself, but it can't get all of the stuff that right now is on this side of the mountain in on mountain, down on this side. So that's where we put the two together and we get really good coverage here. And Palisades, again, is gonna give you the exact same coverage we have now. It gets most of the county, but it misses Dallas Selful. It cuts out a lot on Bluntsville. Everywhere deep down the hole, there's nothing for 31 and 65. So, but you put the two together, we've got a pretty decent map there.
You're going, what's the tower height you're using at Palisades? 100, what is it, 180?
180.
Yeah.
If you did 300, what would it be?
It's still not gonna get in the valleys, but it could very easily hit light up this west side.
Just curious.
Is there any,
We're looking.
I mean, building towers and selecting other sites is not.
I didn't say nothing about building one.
Well, I'm just saying, yeah, but we can
I'm
lease,
following you.
we can lease spots on different
I'm not talking about
towers.
those.
And, we can look at other sites. These are just the two that we really liked. And we looked out, we went out and looked at Highway 11. It lights up so much area. Highway 11 actually would serve Sneed better than Palisades.
is there any discussion of growth or movement in Walker County that would catch the west side? Nothing in Summerton that would catch Bagley or anything? Well, I guess the Warrior Tower catches Bagley though.
They are where we were 4 years ago. They don't like it, but there's no discussion of Walker County down there.
There's 2 towers there. You've got the T-Mobile tower right there on 65. It looks right up 31. And you've got the Verizon tower there on High Point that looks right up 31.
Well, as far as Walker County 911, I understand that, but there's no state airs asset over there that we could work off of?
Not that we're aware of.
Would-
Nothing yet.
I think we all know, in case there's somebody actually watching this thing, what is AIRS,
Alabama Interoperable Radio System.
which is,
The
what's that mean?
the statewide goal for a P25 compliant interoperable
It
radio
is,
system.
it's everybody's individual, it's Birmingham, Huntsville, Dothan, Mobile, Baldwin, it's everybody's individual cores tied together. And then, So it is the program to have talk groups that work statewide on those systems and compatible radio systems. So we can take these radios and go down to Baldwin, go down to Mobile, go to Huntsville, we can go to Tuscaloosa, we can go to Dothan.
Statewide interoperability.
Statewide interoperability, yeah.
Puts everybody on the same platform.
And then Mars is just everybody connected to Birmingham, which is Shelby County, Chilton, us,
St. Clair.
St. Clair's coming up on that, we'll come up on that. When Coleman comes up in a year or two, they'll be on that, and that's the metro area radio system.
Okay, that
And
is all part of this though, it can be in,
It's all integrated.
As long as
it's all
your,
integrated.
as long as your radio has permission to
Right.
roam.
And all of the interop channels work. So there's some that work here, there's some that work wider, there's some that work statewide. There's some that work statewide but only receive locally. So that's, it is a very advanced system that will let us do a lot and be able to communicate very effectively. We will need to do classes for everybody when we get these, train them how to use these radios. Not only just how to actually pick them up and talk on them, but how to take advantage of the fact that we can have different talk groups and stuff. It's not just gonna be TAC 1 and TAC 2. You know, there can be TAC 7, and dispatch channels, and dispatch will be able to patch stuff on the fly very easily, and there's a lot that we can do, and there's gonna be a lot of training.
So for the next commercial structure fire, we don't have to do operations on
Yes.
the dispatch frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we are week later in our regular meeting, so in 2 weeks, we'll have a regular session, or regular, 3 weeks, we'll have another regular meeting. Will that be time for you to get all of your data in, and then maybe we have a work session after our regular business meeting, or?
I expect so. I was told 2 to 3 weeks to get the maps, or for this map. I can get finalized maps.
Okay.
So it's not something I can play with, but it's maps that we can say, okay, this covers this, and this covers this. It won't overlap.
Okay, so would the board entertain at our next business meeting, we set a work session for this? That would give him 3 weeks to get all the information.
In conjunction with the regular meeting, or instead of? Or before?
At the next board meeting, we'll set a work session.
Okay.
not have it at the.
Right, not
Okay,
have
okay,
it.
okay.
Yeah, at the next
Yeah.
regular meeting, we will set a work session to discuss this. Just have that, just put that on the agenda.
Okay.
If that's pleases the board. All right, any other discussion on the airs? All right, that takes us to new business, the replacement of facility cleaning service.
The service that had been cleaning for us has resigned. The last couple of weekends, it's been a combination of me and some of the dispatchers that have done our cleaning. And that was just spot cleaning. So we need to get somebody back in that's gonna do our weekly service. You've got 2 quotes in your packet. One is is just the cleaning service, and one has the cleaning service and the floor care combined. Both are pretty detailed as to what they're gonna be doing. It's just a matter of whether or not we wanna bundle our buffing and waxing these tile floors in with what we pay weekly, or if we want to pull them out and pay them individually. I'd asked for several quotes, and these are the 2 that I got back.
Did any one of these include sanitation for the COVID situation we have right now?
Other than just general cleaning stuff, no.
So no fumigation or anything?
I think we'll just go with the basic cleaning and leave the floors for,
Just do them as
for,
needed.
as needed, yeah.
I have no disagreement with that.
assume both of these are licensed to do business in Buck County.
One of them definitely is, and the other one will get an Aniana business license if selected. The higher quote is the one that cleans our church, so I'm familiar with him. The other is the mother of one of our dispatchers that does some cleaning stuff on the side.
But that, if I'm looking at theirs right, it's just an hourly, well, no, like $60 a week, about the same price, really.
No, his is that 201 per week.
Yeah. Oh, that's a week?
That's a week.
But that includes the four.
That
Oh.
includes, that bundles in quarterly doing above more wax of the floors, which has been costing us anywhere from $900 to $1,200 when we have to do that.
So what is his without the floor? I can't see these things. See, you got it broke out without the floor.
He does not have it itemized out.
Be difficult to.
Can't compare apples to apples. Can we actually delay this to the next one? And maybe, make sure we get broke out without, so it's equal apple to apple.
Since you're taking out I know this is gonna require the staff to continue cleaning for 3 more weeks, but I mean,
Well-
in order to accept a bid, they would have to be comparable.
Could we do a one-time or two-time thing till the next meeting for this one, from Clark, for this, the weekly?
She probably did that.
And if you do that, that'd get us past the other, while we get a complete quote in on the other one. Does that make sense? Can we do that?
I think we can do it temporary.
Yeah, temporary basis.
30 days, whatever.
If that's.
I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to allow for temporary contract or monthly with Ms. Clark, and then ask Neil to have bids or quotes resubmitted, itemized.
Gotcha.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, the next item is an executive session, but before we go into executive session, is there any other business that would come before the board? Any board comments?
Oh, just one question.
Okay.
Today being the first day we've done this live, now, if I remember correctly, when we voted to do this, we said we're not gonna